At this time, I have the distinct honor of presenting her from the state of Georgia for her Faithful Service Award. It says, presented to Miss Jacqueline Bunn in appreciation of 20 years of service to the state of Georgia. And then it's signed also by our governor, Nathan Deal. So, Miss Jacqueline, we'd like to present this to you on behalf of the board. Hey, Miss Jacqueline, is there anything you want to say?
No, I'm good. I'm not going to prolong the meeting. I know people have work to do.
Well, I just felt like I should do that while you were here. I know some of you will have to go, and there's been a lot of great people serve Georgia from Crisp County and Cordell, and I've had a blessed opportunity to serve with some of those in the legislature years ago, and you've always been represented well over the years, but I wanted to make sure you saw that presentation before you had to go your different ways. Chris, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Ms. Bud, I don't know about the rest of them, but if you need help getting through the traffic here in Cordell, you call me.
Thank you.
I would like to take this opportunity to recognize some special guests, but truly key partners as the board tries to accomplish its work in ensuring public safety for all Georgians. I would call upon Department of Community Supervision's Regional Director Walter Donald here in the audience with us, and if you would kind of introduce your staff.
I'm joined here today by the Coordinating Chief of the Cordell Circuit, Julie Tinsley, and the Assistant Chief Supervision Officer of the Cordell Circuit, Josh Norton. We hope that you have a productive and enjoyable time here, but if you need anything, again, don't hesitate to give us a call in the DCS office.
Thank you. Glad to have y'all with us. Thank you.
I've known Regional Director Walter Donnelly for a number of years. He worked hand in hand with Bubba Williams and survived, so that stands to attest to his fortitude. So great people, they do great work down here for the board, ensuring that those individuals that we have given that second chance to go back into the community, that they stick by those conditions that y'all have placed and hold them accountable and ensure that they have a successful reentry. So thank you for all of your hard work, and please pass that along to your staff back at the office.
Chris, if I may, I'm just trying to get my bearings. Which of our DOMs actually serves this area?
Solomon Bar.
This is Solomon's area then.
Yes.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Good. Thank you.
As far as the director's report, I'll keep my comments short so that you can hear from each of the divisional directors, but I would like to let the board know we continue our community engagement, speaking at various universities across the state, also speaking with our stakeholders, both criminal justice partners as well as the communities and business leaders, to ensure that there's a good understanding of what parole does, how we accomplish the tasks that we are, and how we can assist them in their daily missions. I would also like to share with you a request that we recently received from the state of Nevada. As you heard our public relations director, Steve Hayes, speak about the incident that occurred this past Sunday, through our Attorney General's office and Ms. Tina, we received a request from the Nevada Attorney General Laxalt. Close enough, okay. Indicating that due to the number of victims and the fact that the victims and their families and friends will be spread across these United States, they have put a call out for anyone who is trained in victim assistance programs for volunteers to assist them in that process. We brought that to our own Georgia Office of Victim Services, headed by the Director Shalandra Robinson, who immediately went to her staff and got 3 volunteers to assist. We have transmitted those names to our Attorney General's office and to the Nevada Attorney General's office, and should they be called upon to travel to Nevada or provide services here in coordination with Nevada, they are up to the task, and we fully support them and are gracious that they have volunteered for that. Let me share their names with you. Of course, Director Shalandra Robinson, Chris Toussaint, and Catherine McKinney. there are 3 individuals that have volunteered. So thank you very much, and thank you for standing up. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bubba Williams, our clemency director, for a report on clemency.
Thank you, Chris, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, board members, good morning. Bring greetings and salutations from the Clemency Division.
There's not much going on in Clemens. You got a little sticky note on there.
Yeah, that about wraps it up. Try to make it short. Before I start talking too much, I'd like to introduce my 2 assistant directors that do a fine job. Without them, I don't know what I do. Carol Deans and Scott Reeves. And we have a couple of employees. I want to miss them. Carol, could you introduce who we have here from the field?
2 criminal investigators, Judy Edwards and Lauren Weaver, and Wade Wheeler is also a senior HE. That's my staff.
Thank you, Carol. 2 quick things. Well, 3. Clemency is clicking right along. We're trying our best to stick to our main goal, which is to make sure that our core functions are done in an efficient and effective manner. And every day, that's our number 1 goal, to make sure that what we need to be doing is getting done. But we have some other initiatives going on. 2 of them are what I'd like to speak about. The first one is our staff, we cross-train them. I know a lot of different agencies do that, but we're so small, relatively speaking. We try to cross-train our staff to where we have a redundant system. If someone's out, if someone retires, or whatever may happen, that other employees know how to do other employees' normal job tasks. But we've kind of moved into a phase 2 approach with our younger employees, and that is, and less experienced and non-managerial employees. We're trying to involve them more in the what would be categorized as a supervisory type task, such as going to speak to college groups, maybe going to visit some prisons and speak to either inmates or employees or both, and kind of spread the message of what parole is all about and what we do and how we do it. We have a large number of people that are eligible to retire in the near future. So it is our job, that some of us that have been around for a while, to ensure that these other employees are aware of how to do these tasks and are proficient at doing these tasks, so they can step up and step in when they may be called upon. The second initiative is, we just finished our 3rd meeting with IT yesterday, I believe it was, regarding trying to move our investigations module from Barney into the portal. And things are developing fairly well. If we can get that completed as soon as possible, it should make easier what we're doing in the field and how we transfer information and access information, and we'll make what we do an easier task, a more efficient task. So those are our two latest attempts to make us better. So if there are any questions, I'll be glad to try to defer them to somebody else.
Any questions? See no questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. We'll get you a different color sticky note next time. At this time, I call on the Director of Field Services, Rick Jacobs, for his report out on his division.
Sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman
Good
Cotton,
morning.
members of the board. I don't have any sticky notes, so we'll just go like this right here. Well, first, I want to bring you up to speed on some staffing changes that we've had in Field Services Division. We had, and I would be remiss if I did not mention this, Ms. Truly Linder, 31 years of service to the state of Georgia, and she retired effective October the 1st.
Oh, wow.
She will be truly missed, no pun intended. I told her that. And, but she quietly just wanted to retire, and so we did a little private luncheon for her, and, did want to mention her and thank her with the board here for her service. One of the things that we also have done is we had 2 vacant positions that we have hired recently. Miss Iris Williams, we brought her back home, as she likes to say. She was previously with the board and worked in Interstate Compact, and in the transition she went over to DCS. We took her back, and we're excited to have her, and she's excited to be with us. And then we also hired an entry-level position in scanning and imaging, which was recently moved over to Field Services Division, Miss Marion, that we brought her in as well, Marion Davis, and we're excited to have her on board. One of the things that this gave us an opportunity to do with Miss Linda's retirement was to kind of evaluate where we were as far as our staffing and the strength of our staffing, especially in the way of career ladders. We feel like that's really important. We have a lot of areas in field services that you have entry-level positions, but you have very little opportunity or leverage to move upward in that, and very few opportunities. So we have recently added a team lead position in scanning and imaging. Ms. Aisha, which you met, I introduced you in our last board meeting, has taken over and doing a wonderful job in that role. We have recently added, as a result of the retirement and those funds being reallocated or shifted around to some degree, we have a now team lead in Interstate Compact, and we will also have a team lead as far as our general area of administration as well. So that's working out well. I would also like to mention to you that in the area of our DOMs, our district operations managers, this also gave us the ability to enhance that opportunity for them to create 2 senior DOM designated positions, which are not new positions. They're coming out of current positions hired internally. And we will be interviewing for those, opening it up for all of our district operations managers who apply for that to be interviewed. And we're looking forward to moving forward in that direction. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about was we had an opportunity most recently to be selected by the University of Minnesota, where we had applied for a grant for funding approval, and it was approved through the Robina Institute, which is a foundation that is funded by donations. And Dr. Ed Ryan, I guess that's a name from the past there, who is heading up this particular committee. We've had our first meeting and sit down with them, and the objective for this particular study and the grant monies that were spent on this is for us to really take our entire revocation process that we have with the board and some similar type transaction, pour it through a funnel and look at every step of the revocation process, every part of it, beginning with the disciplinary report that's completed by the DCS officer, of which DCS is also sitting in on this committee with us as well. We invited them in to be a part of this. And warrants, violations reported, and those types of things, all the way through the process to where the parolee would be or maybe not be returned to a correctional facility. So what we are doing is we're going through each and every part of that, basically taking it apart and then challenging it with best practices nationally to see if there's anything that we can do to improve and leverage efficiencies in Georgia, the Georgia way. And so we're really excited about that opportunity. Dr. Ryan's excited about that opportunity, and we're looking forward to presenting you at a later date what our recommendations are for this board to consider as we move forward and professionalizing even more so what we already feel really good about. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just curious, how far along are you in this process?
We just had our first meeting this week and this past week, and it was a really good meeting. We had a lot of participation in it, and we nailed down some areas already that they're looking at. This particular week, they will be interviewing, in fact, tomorrow, they will be interviewing some of the district operations managers, and then also some employees with DCS that are at the field level, where the first, when they first report that violation and how that is reported up and those types of things.
Thank you.
We expect that this thing hopefully will be wrapped up by 6 months period is the window that we're working in. Any other questions?